I hear you did some viewer requests.
I did. We did viewer requests on Twitter. Questions.
What do viewers come up with? Just start with one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna name them all.
Oh, I thought that. I don't know what you were gonna do.
All right. PeppersGhost said things you liked as a kid, but now not as an adult, and vice versa.
I'm assuming that means outside of the obvious stuff, because like, despite being a collector of various stuff, toys did not follow me into adulthood for the most part. I mean, I still think some toys are cool, but like building toys, like I don't do Lego, but I would if
they didn't cost $500 for a set.
But like Lincoln Logs, right? We played Lincoln Logs once, had a great time. But yeah, I mean, but I don't know if the toys is in the spirit of the question, because that's kind of commonplace.
And I still would play with them most of them if I had like trains.
Yeah, but I look at them as separate from like actual figure
toys. Yeah.
And in adulthood, even if you remain into toys like action figures and stuff, I think it's more about like collecting and displaying, not the actual
playing.
At least I think. Maybe I'm wrong about that. You know what? And baseball.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I was a huge baseball nerd growing up.
With the cards and following the team religiously in the summer.
Oh, big time! Yeah, played all the time, collected the cards, sought out the autographs. I mean, we used to write to players at the team, and you know this already because we've talked about this before. But I used to write to the players and send the cards to try and get autographed cards back, that kind of stuff. I still do have that one for the letter from Randy Myers too, because I think I offered to give it to Bootsy and I think he declined it.
Well,
I mean, and I was one of these guys who could like rattle off all the numbers,
Oh yeah,
statistics going back for decades and all that kind of crap. Watched games religiously. If I wasn't watching games, I would have them on the radio. I loved baseball on the radio.
Yeah.
I just loved the ambiance of it. Just all that. I was just created my own baseball game, like home baseball game, basically like a board game of game simulation with dice and cards that I hand wrote every year for each season. That a whole group of us played for years.
Oh my god!
We probably played that game for 4 or 5 years. Every year we had our own little league, and we played out full seasons and the whole, all packed in a box upstairs. So I was big into baseball, and that lasted into adulthood, though not super well. It lasted into my 20s and then just kind of stopped. It was after the last Yankees dynasty. I kind of trailed off a little bit for various reasons. Some of it was life, like changes in life. Some of it was the rise of the steroid era, which I really didn't like. That's not my kind of baseball. I like scrappy baseball. I like base runners. I like base stealing. I like small ball, and just a whole bunch of stuff. And I eventually just sort of faded away from it, and it has never come back.
Yeah, the same with me. Like when the Yankees started winning all those, when it got to the point where every season you were like, it was more like, will the Yankees win the World Series in 4, or will they win it in 6 this year?
Right.
Is when I started to get almost bored. I remember I was working at the theater and I just was like, I don't care anymore. It's just so insanely, which sounds ridiculous because people would be like, how could you're a fan? And it's like, but like you said, but then I also was getting to that age where, I don't know, it just started, it was too much. I didn't have the time to invest it. Like baseball is like an investment of time. Which is why I moved to football, because it was like, hey, it's once a week, and I get a couple hours.
Yeah. And that was, and it's not something. I mean, I don't associate baseball fandom with childhood, but I associate it with my childhood, right? Meaning to say, like, unlike toys, which I don't think is the spirit of the question, right? Because you associate toys with childhood,
right?
But baseball is just like for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. There's a part of me that wishes I hadn't drifted away from it, because I still, in theory, love the game.
Yeah.
I love being at games, but I just can't follow it the way I did. I have been somewhat following Ohtani.
Yeah, he's fun to follow just because it's such an oddball.
Yeah, but even that is mostly just through texts with my friend.
What's happening?
I'm getting attacked. Just like text with a friend, he'll be like, "Oh, Tony, another 2 home runs today," or something like that. And maybe I'll pull up the news or watch highlights. I have been recently watching YouTube videos that are like talking about the careers of like classic players and stuff like that.
That's always fun.
But it's been more just like with the wrestling thing, which it's been more like a trip down memory lane kind of thing more than me getting back into baseball. I tried to get myself back into it by getting one of the recent MLB video games. I don't remember what the series is called, but like the big one that.
Yeah, sometimes that. I used to love playing like seasons on baseball. Even after I was done watching baseball, I used to love playing. But then when I switched to Xbox, MLB stopped making it for Xbox.
But it's on Xbox now.
Now it's back on. But for a decade or more, you couldn't even get it. And I was like, well, I guess I'm just not going to play that anymore. I started playing Madden a little more and hockey a little more, and
I got one of the
soccer even.
I got one of the recent ones, thinking, and then maybe even sort of hoping like maybe this will get me back, because I'll start to learn the players again and know who's who and all that kind of stuff. And I played a good like maybe 10, 12 games of it, and I enjoyed it, but then I just sort of faded out again.
Which, real quick, would be another thing that I think as a kid I loved playing was those sport games as a kid. I played all the that's Blades of Steel, Bases Loaded, the original
Lakers vs.
game,
Celtics.
Lakers vs. Celtics, all those.
Yeah.
I played the hell out of. I don't care at all anymore about playing the sport games, not very often. But also there's not a lot of those games you a lot of times played with your friends, like co-op, like local.
Yes. Yeah, the couch co-op.
And it kind of took it away. Like when that disappeared, it was like,
Yeah, couch co-op is kind of dead these days, and so I know you can play online, but I don't like to just play against random strangers.
Yeah.
And
because you can't
you can't talk shit. Plus the games,
but it's not the same.
Because they're trying to be more simulation these days. Games take forever.
Yeah.
Like they take like real time to play through these games. Where it used to be, you would bang out a hockey game or a football game, and whatever it was, 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah. They do have fast modes on them now, though.
Do they?
Yeah, they have these weird things where I think Madden had a thing where you could.
Well, basically all the cinematics get skipped, right?
Yeah, and it'll literally skip everything almost. It's like these quick 4-minute games or something crazy. My son was playing it.
That's interesting.
Or you just play offense or something if you don't want to play defense.
The last time I was playing baseball video games, it was barely even what you would consider a video game. I was playing the Baseball Mogul series. And that game...
Oh, is that where you're like the owner or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're basically
kind of cool.
You're basically just doing like all the behind the scenes.
It's like a sim game almost.
Yeah. So you're not even playing games. You could watch a game being simmed out.
Right.
And you could get involved in like manager mode. So you can get involved in like, intentionally walk that guy or play. But mostly you're just doing like the ownership and GM stuff. You're making trades and you're signing players. Cool. Oh, I had a great time. I had it set up at an office where I used to work, and so while working, I would
making trades and
I would sim my way, and I think I did like a 30-year thing with the Yankees, because after a while it just starts generating rookies through the
through the farm leagues.
So what was interesting is that while I'm playing that over the course of however many weeks, I got to know and like these players who don't actually exist, and got to watch like Hall of Fame careers develop and all that for players that aren't real.
Hell of a career, that kid. It's too bad he blew his knee out.
it was good stuff.
There was should we do the reverse one or move to the next one?
No, I'm not. Go. Why? What was the reverse one?
He was saying and also the vice versa.
Oh, stuff that you're into now that you weren't as a kid. I mean, that's basically everything, though, right?
Yeah, I guess so, right?
Life in general, like the idea of just sitting around and talking over a drink and not doing anything I couldn't have done that as a kid. And now it's like one of my favorite things to do. But one of my favorite things to do is nothing.
There's a good one from Sater. Urban legends in your area, strange creatures, aliens, or ghosts.
Oh, I mean, the big one is easy. You go on that one.
The Jersey Devil.
Of course.
Especially when we both grew up in the Pine Barrens, so it's even more. It's like it's a real thing. The Jersey Devil is a real thing for us.
I could go. I mean, do I want to do that much like activity movement? I can go upstairs right now and get like a stack of Jersey Devil books That's
go
how.
get
Like,
them. I mean,
yeah. I'll grab them just
I
to.
was gonna say with the editing is you'll be
yeah,
back in a second.
Yeah. I'll be back. So the most famous one, and I've read this growing up as well. I'm sure too.
Yeah.
This
was
was
in the library.
This was in kids. This was in the school library everywhere. Just plain old The Jersey Devil by James McCloy and Ray Miller Jr. This is the Jersey Devil book.
That's where I feel like all the lore and everything
Yeah, this gathers like the best of the stories. The early lore, where the Jersey Devil came from, the sightings, especially
from what I remember, the 13th kid of the Leeds family.
Yes.
This part is always different because there's a reason why. Like when I was a kid, it just happened to be the 13th kid, so it was bad luck, and the mom gave birth to this like demon baby, and it flew up the chimney or something and left.
Yeah, one variation on it has that the mom cursed the child because she had too many kids.
Right.
And she was like, "Oh, there's too many damn kids.
Why do I keep having children?"
Why indeed? And it was said to have happened in Leeds Point, which you can go to. I think it's in Atlantic County.
Yeah, isn't the foundation and everything still there from the house, the Leeds house?
I'm not sure on that part, but yeah.
Should be.
The another one, which is by the same duo, Phantom of the Pines. This one is also.
That's often posters and stuff of that.
Yeah, this one is also good. Here's one you might not have seen before, and this one is extra special. Bigfoot in the Jersey burbs.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
So Bigfoot in the suburbs. This one is extra special because I'm quoted in this book.
Oh,
I don't have my
your big Bigfoot sightings.
I don't have
had?
my glasses. No, it wasn't. It wasn't for a Bigfoot sighting exactly. It was for a sighting that we referred to as the Bag Man.
The frig is the Bag Man?
Myself and my neighbor thought that we had repeatedly saw a figure in the woods. You know, I lived adjacent to the woods, so I was right on a vast tract of untamed wilderness.
Yes.
And we used to see a figure in the woods who looked basically like it was one of those big brown shopping bag paper bags over their head, just like there at the edge of the wood line, looking
not too weird for
looking
the
out at us. Never had any like actual physical evidence or something. We were young, probably just seeing some shit, but yeah, and we sort of referred to them as the Bag Man. And I don't remember how I connected with the author to relate that story, but
funny.
A little bit of that story is in there. These two aren't quite like legends and lore, but Abandoned Southern New Jersey is a pretty good one. Pine Barrens Legend and Lore, that one has lots of good legends and lore, really good stuff. And Ghost Towns of the Pine Barrens,
which there's tons of.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. But yeah, obviously the Jersey Shore is the big one. Are there any others that
Jersey
you can think of for our area, though?
I mean, there's always like haunted stories because of living out where we do, because there's so many abandoned towns in the Pine Barrens because they used to because they would, or what was it? I always forget the stuff they mined, the bog iron or whatever.
Bog iron, yeah.
So when you'd go out there, you always found foundations and weird shit, but I can't think of anything particular.
There is a house in Lakehurst, and I don't know to what extent I should identify exactly where the house is. But Brainy Bryan can speak to this. He can tell some stories. In fact, share some of those stories in the comments, Brainy Bryan, when you listen to this. But in this house in Lakehurst, which is a house I've been in and been to, and he has been in many times, that house was, by all accounts, absolutely haunted.
100% certified.
100% certified haunted. And some of the stories are genuinely like pretty pretty creepy. The person that we both knew that Brian knows very well lived up on the third floor, basically like a.
Oh geez, there was a third floor on it?
It was more like it was the like
attic.
Greg's attic loft from the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
It was like that kind of room, and it had this sort of like little nook crawl space that like things would be seen or heard in there. and there would be footsteps in the house and stuff like that. Like I want to say lights in the house, like not light like
like orbs.
Yeah. Some pretty genuinely creepy stories. I don't know that they had any sort of origin. I don't know that there was a story of like so and so died in the house or something. But yeah,
Lakehurst is old town, so it could have been going back.
Yeah. There's some really old buildings in town. There's also, and again, there are no creepy stories attached to it, but like there is a tunnel that connects the elementary school to the houses across the street.
That's, which reminds me now of one thing that is creepy about, if I think of the lore of the Bayville, the Al Capone.
Oh yeah, it's now
it's now like for older people that have like dementia and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the thing was that back in the day in the Pine Barrens, Al Capone had this hotel built, and there was the golf course, and there's a lake there, and he had a underground tunnel that ran under the lake so he could run away from the cops if he had to or something like that.
I mean, I can understand why bad stories have come up about that place too, because it genuinely looks creepy.
I have on film still. If I could find it, I'll put it on the thing. But when I was in high school, we one time went with my camera because we used to talk about it all the time, and we drove out to it and drove up to it in the middle of the night. We just drove right up to the. We were like, we're just doing it. Let's just finally get in there.
Like it was this big.
Yeah, and it's like dark out, and we drove up, and we pulled up to the front, and I aimed the camera up, and there was somebody standing in like the 6th floor window, just looking down at us, and we were like, "Wow, let's get out of here!" Like as if like it's probably some old guy just looking like, "Who the hell's down there?"
Yeah.
But that place was always. It's just got that weird style. It's like all concrete and stuff.
Yeah, it's an odd looking building.
Especially in the middle of where it is.
Is it Mystic something? What the hell? I can't. It's a freaking monolith sticking out there. You know what I'm surprised that we don't have more of are UFO sightings and UFO stories. Considering that we live adjacent to 2 major aviation focused bases. We're not far from the Lakehurst base and McGuire Air Force Base. Which now, of course, they're all them
it's all
and together with
thing.
Dix's. I can't remember what they call it now. The joint something or other base. But yeah, with all the testing that they've done at Lakehurst, actually, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot about this. I do have some ghost stories related to Lakehurst. I'd written a piece for Weird Tales magazine, and I think the piece is now on my site. So if you just go to myfullname.com. It'll be somewhere on there. I'm pretty sure I put it on there. Called The Ghosts of Hangar 1. Because Hangar 1 in Lakehurst is, as some people might be familiar, is where the Hindenburg exploded.
Oh, the humanity!
Killing many people. It technically is an interesting factoid. It actually did not go down in Lakehurst. It went down in Manchester. Because the base is not in Lakehurst, the base is in Manchester.
Lakehurst Naval Base.
But it's named Lakehurst, so people associate it with having gone down in Lakehurst. But it technically went down on the base, which is located in the borders of Manchester. But anyway, Hangar 1 has long been said to be haunted. People have seen sightings of old airmen. Is that? Yeah, it's still on. People have seen sightings of like old airmen in, like old out-of-date uniforms from generations ago. People standing way up in the rafters in places that they shouldn't be able to access. People like in medical distress on stretchers who are like talking about a disaster. There's all sorts of really eerie and fantastic stories, including which in a building that large, not too surprising, like these unusually cold drafts that suddenly come and give you the chills, and I was friends with someone who was stationed there. So we used to hang out pre 9/11. We used to be able to get on the base pretty easily. Mm-hmm.
And he took me into that hangar the one time. And it's like, you see it from the street alone, and it's like, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's massive.
Especially because even just historically, like, oh, wow, it's so weird to see. This is where, like, the Hindenburg used to park in all those big Zeppelins. But when you go inside, he drove the car inside. And he said that it's so big that sometimes, because when the temperature's right, it formed clouds. Mm-hmm. And it would like actually start to like mist rain a little bit.
Yeah, it's known for having like
insane.
Its own little mini weather patterns. You still can, even in the post 9/11 world, and for anybody in the region. I highly encourage you to do it if you can. You can still get tours of it through the Navy Lakehurst Historical Society.
Yeah, I always wondered, right? Because they have to let you be able to see, because there's a plaque there on the ground for the Hindenburg.
Well, yeah, though the plaque is way out in the field.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's actually a full museum inside. But it's by appointment only, so you can't just sort of drive up and do it.
Yeah.
But it's a great little tour. The museum is actually a fantastic museum. What's cool about the museum part is inside the hangar there is a mock aircraft carrier deck.
Yeah.
Right, so they would do
it's like that deck part of it, right?
Yeah. So they would do training for aircraft carrier drills and stuff inside the hangar, and the museum is in like underneath that deck in there. So when you go in, you go in through the side, and you walk through some offices and stuff like that, and then you open up the door, and boom, you're just in the hangar, and it is really kind of awe-inspiring because it's just, at the time that it was built, it was said to be the largest indoor structure.
Yeah, it's the largest freestanding, right? Without any structures, holding up.
Yeah, absolutely huge. Though
those doors,
despite being so big, even the Hindenburg would just stick
out in the back.
Yeah, huge. Yeah, really, like fascinating place. Yeah, cool stuff. To roll back to a previous episode in which we talked about UFOs and UFO phenomenons, which people seem to like, except for that one viewer who didn't seem to care for our episode very much at all. The books that I mentioned on that that I recommend are Alien Agenda, this one here by Jim Mars, and Timothy Good's Above Top Secret: The Worldwide UFO Cover-Up. This one's older. I don't have my glasses, so I can't see the date. But this one's been kicking around for a while. But this is kind of a classic of UFO-dom. And Alien Agenda is a little more recent, though. I think this one dates to the 90s. Both really good books. These are books that I recommend if you're into the UFO thing.
Chicken Dynasty went a little bit nuts.
Oh, Chicken Dynasty.
So I don't know if I should just pick one, or I should just give them all out and see. And
what are they called?
He's nuts.
The lightning round. Let's do the lightning round.
All right, we'll try to do a Chicken Dynasty lightning.
Chicken Dynasty lightning round. So before you go into that, I recommend people check out Chicken Dynasty's channel.
Yes,
he's got some fantastic animated series that he does, including his newest one, Paradise Lost, which I think he's about 5 or so episodes into it right now. Good stuff. You should check it out. The guy puts a lot of work.
Award winning.
That is true. Yeah. Won at Gen Con, I think 2 years ago. A year or 2 years ago. So yeah, check it out.
He's got local news anchors / news memories.
Oh,
which is amazing.
I just had to write an obituary for a well-known local news anchor in San Francisco. I don't remember.
Oh, in San Francisco.
In San Francisco. No, for our area, what was her name? Marie Chow.
I have more memories of the local weather people.
Yeah.
Like, because they always had like Storm Fields.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember the name.
And
that can't be his real name.
No, I mean it could have been the son.
That's his porn name.
And then what was the sport guy? Wolf
Blitzer.
No, he used to do the year sport at the end of the year. He would do this like year in review of all the sport things, and we used to record them on VHS, and I would watch them over and over again. What the heck was his name? There was something. If I say his name, you're gonna go, holy shit, because
probably, but
you watched all your Yankee highlights with this guy.
I don't remember. Well, he was on PIX.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember. Oops.
Warner Wolf's Plays of the Year.
It's Warner Wolf's Plays of the Year. The Plays of the Year of 1985. And let's go to the videotape.
Pee Wee tribute, because Pee Wee Herman just died.
I mean, fair. Here's rather than a tribute, because I mean, what more can you say about Pee Wee, his funny and subversive show and all the rest? I will say this: the man got a bad rap for his theater incident.
They had him come back a couple years later. It was quite a while later at the MTV Awards.
Heard any good jokes lately? So funny I forgot to laugh.
I'm back or whatever, and everyone was like, all right, cool, like Pee Wee Herman's back. People don't forget, but like you do kind of forget how huge he was.
Oh, he was giant.
And all the catchphrases that people still use today that don't even remember that. Like, I hear my kids sometimes say things, and I'm like, That was Pee-wee.
Yeah.
I had them watch the movie when they were younger, and they loved it. And I forgot how many catchphrases are from that movie. I'm like, there's like 30.
Well, and Pee-wee was one of those rare characters and shows and just the whole phenomenon where it captured both kids and adults alike. There was something for all.
Yeah,
age,
he was
age
real,
ranges
and he
there.
was great. His whole thing with the first time I watched him was the first time I ever saw him was the HBO special.
Yeah.
And
where it all began. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, what the like as a kid, and my parents just probably assumed it was a kid show, but it was subversive enough to go over my head like a little bit, but I kind of knew what was going on.
Yeah.
But that was the first time I was like, this is great. And then I felt like all of a sudden, then he was having a movie come out, and then
he just
forget it.
Yeah, he just blew up.
And the start of, I mean, that movie is the start of Tim Burton's career, basically.
Yeah.
Favorite commercials.
Oh God,
I know there's so many.
Well, I mean that's tough only because my head is filled with jingles like from decades worth of jingles.
If I think of kid things, I'll think of Where's the Beef?
Yeah, Where's the Beef is
Spud McKenzie commercials.
I never liked Spud McKenzie.
Even when as a kid, you don't really remember the commercials. Like you don't.
I didn't say I didn't remember.
But you didn't like them.
I didn't like.
You
them.
walked away as a child from the
That's
TV
right.
whenever it came on.
I didn't. No, yeah, I definitely. Where's the Beef? Were definitely funny.
G.I. Joe commercials.
Oh yeah, of course.
Just action figure ones.
Yeah, but that was more about like, yeah, I want that.
Yeah. All the McDonald's commercials when we were kids, like Christmas McDonald's commercials when they came on, I was always like, oh, good. Like I'm gonna be off of school soon. Like the Christmas, the McDonald's Christmas commercials are coming on.
You know what I like? I liked the Coca-Cola polar bear commercials.
Yeah,
they were good. You know, I enjoyed that. But yeah, I do.
The bunny.
The what?
The bunny, the pink bunny.
Oh yeah.
Remember that? It keeps going and
going. Oh, and you know what? Here, maybe here I won't even need to say the product because you'll know what it is as soon as I do this. Bok, 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 bok.
That's the Cadbury egg commercial.
That's right. Yeah.
The Cadbury bunny.
I do still have a fondness of those old commercials, and I could watch back when we were doing this on the channel more like public access style. You used to throw in old commercial clips, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed watching.
I loved
this.
finding there's people who just upload 6 hours of them on YouTube, and I would just sit and watch them all. And be like, oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Even the dopey ones, like the mom commercials. One thing I noticed about those commercials is the commercials that used to be aimed towards the moms that were like staying at home and cleaning.
Yeah.
The music was always some band from the 60s or whatever. And as a kid, I was just like, oh, whatever. And then when I got older and I started noticing that the car commercials and the shampoo commercials and the cleaning product commercials are the songs from me when I was from like the 80s and stuff. I'm like, oh, I get it now. Like, that's what was going on.
Like when all of a sudden Pearl Jam starts showing up at commercials or whoever, it's like that
or like the Go-Go's and all that stuff.
Yeah.
This is very Chicken Dynasty. Favorite birds.
That one's actually super easy for me though. I legitimately have a favorite bird. Ducks, man. Ducks. I love ducks. I don't know. Has the show ever been regaled with the Charles story? I don't know if it has.
I don't think so.
I don't know if now is the right time to retell the story. But the story of Charles is that there was an injured duck in my backyard who had basically half of its head, like, shaved off or whatever. And I nursed Charles back to health over the course of many weeks. I used to come home from work and step out onto the back deck and call out for him, Charles, and he used to come so I can feed him. He just lived on my back deck for a while until finally he found a new flock who accepted him because a lot of flocks rejected him at first. And then Charles went off and lived his little duck life.
That's awesome.
I love love ducks. Ducks are great.
Ducks are cool.
The non-aquatic bird that I like, I'm fond of cardinals because they're pretty, but I think I like the American goldfinch most.
Yeah.
Which of course, one, it's the New Jersey state bird.
Right. And 2, you rarely see them.
I get them all the time.
Oh, it's crazy. I used to get them occasionally.
They're sunflower crazy.
Oh, okay, because of the seeds.
There are some years where I've had like a dozen of them in my front yard, all just chowing down on the sunflowers, and they're really pretty. They're nice.
Yeah.
They're nice looking birds.
Yeah, because we don't have a lot of colorful. We don't have like a large amount of colorful.
They're delicious.
Birds. They are very tasty. Bones and all.
You get them by their 2 little legs, and if you have like a little pot of boiling oil, you just zoop, and then
you put a scarf over your head and you eat them.
You dip it. Delicious.
I don't know. I did a lot of bird watching when I moved
to
moved out to the woods, and I remember
to the other woods.
Yeah, I went from one woods to the other woods, and I remember being infatuated with all the birds because in the Pine Barrens there was only like I didn't see cardinals. I didn't see it was just blue jays, robins, finches, and shit. I
was talking about this with Brainy Bryan again to bring him up again recently. There's one bird I really miss, and apparently they're not even where I grew up anymore. Whippoorwills.
Oh yeah. I don't know if I'd.
No, did you not have those?
I don't think so. When I was a kid,
I had them all the time growing up, and they would start like before dawn, and run that shit like so. So you knew the sun was within about an hour or so of coming up when you started to hear the whippoorwills come out and do that crap. I haven't heard one out in the
wild
and out in the wild for probably decades at this point. I miss them. I want whippoorwills.
I think my favorite bird now would be turkey vultures.
I can see that.
Just because my whole life they've always been circling above everywhere I lived all the time, and they're such big and you don't really see them. But over the years, I sort of started to respect it because I'm like, you kind of need they're eating all the dead shit all over the roads and all that stuff. They're huge.
Yeah.
I think a turkey vulture I'm going to go with.
No, I like that. And then my second favorite bird is probably, I don't know, Cape Beckinsale.
Ew. Garfield versus Heathcliff.
There's no winners in that, but it's obviously Garfield.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously Garfield.
I used to try watching the Heathcliff show, and it was real hard. And even reading I used to have the little comics, but I definitely read Garfield I had more Garfield of those like rectangle shaped comic books.
I was one of these kids who read the morning paper with my cereal, and of course, when I say read the morning paper, was mostly like the comics and some of the sports. And we did have Heathcliff for a little while, along with Garfield and Marmaduke, but then Heathcliff disappeared pretty quickly. Garfield, of course, I had a friend. I don't know if I should call him out by name. Oh, I'm gonna say JD. I'll just do that. JD. Those are your initials, JD. You Flyers fan?
Ugh.
He was a huge Flyers fanatic, but he was also a huge Garfield fan. Odie specifically.
Okay. Yeah.
Huge Odie.
At least
fan.
It wasn't normal.
Like a huge Odie fan. Which I don't know. Like even as a kid, you liked Garfield as a kid, But I'd never met anyone who was like just full in.
No, I never knew anyone.
You knew people who were full on into Peanuts, like especially Snoopy or stuff like that, but never Garfield.
No.
But anyway, Garfield's the easy answer on that. Come on.
And then his last on the list is School Stories.
That's a full episode.
Yeah.
Chicken Dynasty. That's a great one, but that's a full episode. We can't lightning around that one.
Lord Desan said childhood fears.
Still the same as adult fears. Insects, heights, heights, and being burned alive by a satanic cult.
Oh my! Well, that's a understandable. Mine. Yeah, I guess childhood fears. I feel like. Yeah, they kind of just. Well, that's not true because I was especially, and I feel like when I say this, you're gonna be like, yeah. Because of where we grew up, but now you know better. It's quicksand.
Oh yeah.
Because I would guarantee we were all afraid we were going to step into quicksand.
I remember point. You've told me that before, that you were like legitimately.
Oh my god! You're out in the woods and you're like going to step in quicksand. Someone's gonna have to rescue you.
We did have an incident once where myself and a friend were out exploring behind this one lake, and we were looking for a way across this creek. And we saw what looked like might be some logs we might be able to get across. And we start to go to walk through there. And he just, out of nowhere, right up to his waist, and just muck. The muck, like enough pine needles had fallen over it that you couldn't tell the muck was there, and he just dropped right into it. I don't remember if he got any leeches from it,
which was also a childhood fear. But when we used to go down Cedar Creek, eventually, like, you got leeches on you, and you were just like, oh, okay, it's not really that big of a deal. Just pulled them off, but we were scared of them until you started getting them on you, and then, whatever.
All right, so I mean, the two that I mentioned, insects and heights, which I'm still frightened of heights. I have a terrible time with them, and insects flip me the hell out. But one that's a little more unique to childhood will be fear of dirt bikers.
Yeah.
When we used to walk in the woods, play in the woods, hike in the woods, and stuff like that, when we would hear the dirt bikers, we would like scout. We didn't want to be on the trail.
Yeah.
Because for some reason we always had it in our head like, oh, they're gonna like stop and beat us up, or like which I guess maybe it was stupid, but at the same time the dirt bikers were mostly teenagers who were like,
we might want to just kick your ass.
They were like just old enough, just older than us, to be bigger, who they could easily kick our ass, but still young enough so that they would just like randomly be assholes just to be assholes, and like be like looking for little kids that they could beat on. It never actually happened to us, so it was, but yeah, we like hearing that dirt bike coming down the trail while we were on it. We're like, oh shit, dirt bikers,
get off the road.
Yeah, get off the road.
I would say just hicks in general. I used to be we were afraid of walking through the woods. Like
as well you should.
Yeah, you just would run, and you're always afraid to.
The one dirt bike encounter we had, it was myself and 3 other friends. We were on a long walk, and we could hear the dirt biker coming. And I had said, "Get off the road!" And so we went off to the side, and we were hiding, sort of underneath the roots and stuff of this big tree. And the dirt biker stopped, and he was sniffing around, and then
and the bugs were like all crawling on.
Yeah, it was.
Did one of you like throw a stick and get them? They like follow the stick.
No. My friend Jimmy started to drop his pants.
Oh.
And that scared him off.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I'm not sure what that that was.
Also, June bugs.
They're pretty gross.
They still gross me out. We got we did that. We got all right, RetroPat. After a long summer of having nothing but fun, it's time to head back to school, shopping gear, backpack lunch boxes. The anticipation of seeing your friends. This again could be another episode entirely, but basically that, like, going back to school for looking like what supplies you had to get, what lunchbox you would have to get.
I actually genuinely liked the I'm glad they brought the supplies, because that was like one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
Trapper keepers.
Yeah, the clothes buying I was but getting a new trapper keeper or just the actual. The things you put the binders in the trapper keeper.
Yeah. All that stuff was great. I still love that stuff. I love office supplies.
Yeah.
I'd like
the smell of office supplies.
Legitimately love office supplies. And yeah, school supplies. Yeah, I always love that stuff. Get the folders and the notepads, the
erasers.
The pens. You would have like the pouches that would go in there
with the zipper.
To throw all the kind of stuff. And remember that like the trapper, they were like a little mushy on the outside. Mm-hmm. And then, of course,
you could put your pencils through them, actually, if you wanted to eventually.
Pop. And, of course, I loved brown papering. Like, some people would, like, brown papering the books, because you always had to write your books. Do kids still have to do that? I don't know.
No. They also came out with these... The kids at some point started selling... They were almost like a elastic like, and you put them on your book, so it wasn't paper bag.
Yeah, I've seen that.
The whatchamacallit, like, my mom was like so good at wrapping, like
same here.
Technique that
like
was,
sometimes kids would get like the fancy like design.
Yeah, but I wanted to be paperback, because then you could draw on it.
Yeah, like that was hours of in class entertainment. And right, that was always a kind of thing, because it was like you knew people like, oh, that's the guy who does all the metal logos.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
He would
juicy S's all over things.
Yeah, or the girls who were really good at, like, there was one girl who she would, I don't know what you would call it, calligraphy, but
yeah, she had good handwriting.
And she like had her own way of writing. She was like, this is my own way of doing these letters. Where so she'd like to do like her fancy writing, and some would draw this, and some would do cartoon characters. I would draw out little wars
Okay.
So I would draw like a side view profile of, let's say, like a mountain base. And here's the mountain base, and I would draw out like all the little rooms and stuff, and I would put all my little stick figure guys, and then I would have stick figure guys invade. And in my head, while I should be paying attention in class, I would just be having this little drawn war where it was like, and then I'm drawing it like, oh, and this guy gets killed, and then just so mine were just filled with wars
Oh my
that
God.
I had. Yeah,
I used to draw on each page and do the like flip thing. So you have
Oh,
like
yeah,
little
yeah.
stick figures, and you just keep doing it over and over again. But drawing on them, yeah, usually your friends were drawing on the shit or whatever.
Yeah, that's something I didn't. Most of my like pre-high school childhood stuff is long since gone. I kind of keeping some of those things would have been like the actual like just the sleeves
like the Trapper Keepers
would
and
have
all
been
that stuff.
Well, specifically like the stuff that was all drawn on. Like
yeah.
the,
Oh
that-
my God, that would have been amazing.
I would love to
Yeah,
be
you just
like, look through
ripped
that
it
stuff.
off when it was the end of the year. You just ripped it off and threw
Yeah.
it away.
Assuming it even made it through
And
the year.
usually, I think you had to rip them off in school, right? Because you had to give the book back at the end of the year, so it
Right.
was just all going in the trash.
Yeah. That was fun.
It's weird because I don't ever remember lunchbox shopping. I don't think I ever went. I had a lunchbox. I had a Gremlins lunchbox and I don't even remember. I know I had a Gremlins lunchbox. I still have it. And a Smurfs lunchbox when I was like little. But I don't remember ever. I think it's my mom just must have always just was like, "Here, you have a Gremlins lunchbox this year." Like I don't remember actually going and buying them.
Yeah, I don't remember either. I vaguely remember clothes shopping.
I remember having to be dragged for clothes shopping.
Yeah.
It's always like, yeah, that was always. I hated that. I mean, I guess every kid hates that.
I mean,
but
I still hate it.
yeah.
I was
Try this on.
just as unfashionable then as I am now.
Yeah, I could care
if not
less.
worse. And
That was back when you had school clothes and play clothes,
yeah.
so you had to get changed when you got home, which is funny.
Yeah.
You couldn't
sometimes.
play outside in your school clothes.
Yeah.
Not that the school clothes were any better in a way. Like it wasn't like I wore fancy clothes to school. They were school clothes.
Yeah.
RetroRevelations said we could talk about old movies you make each other watch for the first time.
I mean, in theory, we could do. In theory, we could do that. It sounds vaguely familiar. We may have done that. I will say, Retro, that is an idea that we've kicked around, bringing back at some point. And I mean, we probably will when we get bored of this format. It's probably something that
and it was fun.
Yeah. We enjoyed doing it. It was just one of those things where you either hit a creative wall or a lot of things are happening in life or just whatever. So yeah, we moved on from it, but who knows, we might circle back to it possibly in a different form or something like that. But I'm
trying to think, is there anything that you've suggested for me to watch since we
I'm not sure about since then. I don't know that there's anything that I've been like saving other than it's mad world.
I watched 12 Angry Men because of
that's right, you did, and you said you loved it, right?
it was great.
Yeah, it's a fantastic movie.
That was good.
But you watched the remake though, not
I watched the original.
Oh, you did watch the original.
Yeah, on Plex.
Okay, good.
Because
Yeah.
I remember I asked you if it was worth me watching.
Oh, that's right.
And you were like, no, just watch the original.
Yeah.
So I ended up watching the original of that, and I watched the Indiana Jones documentary thing. That crazy.
Oh, you did. Yeah, that's really good.
Oh my God! I wish they would make more of those.
Yeah. Well, I think I told you the same person who made that made one for each of the 3 original Star Wars movies.
Oh, okay.
And they're great.
Yeah, it's such a. What is it called? I guess I'll put it up on here so people see it, but just that format of doing a documentary where you're watching the movie, the whole movie,
but it's alternate takes and outtakes.
Oh my God!
And behind the scenes.
I couldn't imagine the editing that went into that.
It's fancy. Yeah, I don't recall what it's named, but yeah, it's
like 3 hours long or something.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, fantastic stuff. The guy's super talented, and the 3 on the original Star Wars movies are also worth watching.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I think, God, I can't remember the titles of them, but they're relatively well known.
They're called something, and he doesn't. They're not called a documentary. They're called like something like a.
They're actually even listed on IMDb.
Okay.
even though they're basically fan productions. But yeah, highly recommended, and they're out there. You can I know you'll have them on screen, all that stuff, but you can find them on Vimeo. I think.
Okay.
I think they're in full on Vimeo. All 4 of them that we mentioned are all on there, and they're all very much worth your time.
Yeah, literally greatest Indiana Jones documentary I've ever watched.
Better than the official ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% better than the official ones. Yeah, really good stuff. Yeah, really good stuff.
And I think that's it. That is it.
We've gone for a while anyway. We'll do this again.
Yeah. Thank you for all the comments.
Absolutely. Yeah, good suggestions. It was that was probably a long episode.
Yeah, it was long.
I'm not even looking at the time. Well, anyway, yeah, we're getting close to an hour here. All right, let's cut.
Skedaddle.
Bye.